Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here this morning. In the aftermath of Cyclone Cody, our damage assessments revealed that farmers bore the storm's heaviest burden. In some instances, entire fields were inundated and ruined by floodwaters. Days after Cody's arrival, we announced 4 fast-acting assistance initiatives for farmers whose crops were devastated. We'll speak on the details of those initiatives shortly. All added up, our farmers suffered a $1.9 million blow, the bulk of which affected crops with much damage to livestock. Please bear in mind we're discussing all the non-sugar agriculture. Sugar rehabilitation is handled by the Ministry of the Sugar Industry. Our farms not only feed Fiji, they are also increasingly one of our greatest drivers of income and livelihoods. Our farms grow more food, feed more people, and generate more exports than at any time in Fijian history. And we have an ambitious mission in this country to make Fijian-grown produce a $500 million export engine for the nation within a decade. We're well on our way to that objective. Despite everything the pandemic threw at our farmers, we exported more in agricultural produce in 2020 than any year of Fijian history, crossing the $100 million mark in fresh and chilled produce for the first time in history. Fijian-grown products like yangona or kava, taro, turmeric, and ginger are highly sought after. And backed by a strategic plan from the government, the $500 million mark for agricultural exports is on our national horizon. And there is one threat above all, however, that threatens all of the good work happening in this sector, and that is, of course, climate change. That means we cannot delay a day in helping our farmers to recover from the devastating cyclones and floods that are striking us more often and with greater intensity, as well as the inundation caused by the rising seas, which can ruin tracts of arable land. That is what today is all about. The first of the 4 assistance programs was a quick deploying cash assistance of $250 to farmers for land preparation, cultivation, and procuring planting materials. Today, we will be paying out these funds through M-Pesa and My Cash platform to 12,747 farmers whose farms were variably damaged by TC Cody for a total payout of $3,186,750. The process for screening deserving applicants were exhaustive. This assistance is going only to farmers whose crops or livestock sustained serious damage from TC Cody. Due to this being an online process, we can clean and process data to determine our final list for field verification. Ministry of Agriculture officers then conducted missions led by each divisional manager to verify the evidence of the level of damage to the farm, the status of the application, the individual and household location, and confirmation of the required mode of payment. To remind everyone, successful applicants are all full-time farmers. Their farms must fall in the cyclone path of Cody, and at least 30% of their crops or 10% of the livestock must have sustained damage. So if your name is not included in the list of successful applicants, it is because our thorough process of selection is most likely found that you did not meet the criteria to qualify. The second initiative focused on the bilateral quarantine arrangement or BQA farms that produce for the export market. In 2020, despite the global economic crisis brought on by the pandemic, as stated earlier on, we unleashed the potential of our local exporters, and our farmers set a record for agricultural exports crossing the $100 million mark for the first time. We can't let Cody or any other climate impacts throw off that progress. Through our bilateral quarantine arrangement for our farmers, we have assisted 177 farmers, each with $86 worth of fertilizer and $96 worth of seedlings of various horticultural export commodities. We had a target of 250 under this assistance package. We are still waiting for some affected farmers to complete their land preparation. The third support program was the expansion of our existing farm support seed packages for farmers who have large farms. The Farm Support Program is an ongoing Ministry of Agriculture program that targets larger farms. These growers are provided seeds up to a quarter acre to kickstart production for income support. So far, the Ministry of Agriculture has assisted 103 farmers. The fourth is our ongoing Grow from Home gardening program that provides garden seed packs for those living in the peri-urban and urban areas who wish to grow their vegetables in their backyard. We've learned a lot over the past several weeks, in fact, about the burden of the non-communicable disease epidemic on our people, a burden that dwarfs the human health costs of the COVID-19 virus by a wide margin. Growing our food in our backyards is important not only towards food security, but towards nutrition security. Locally grown food is healthier food, and most Fijians can and should make more room for Fijian-grown produce in their diets. To date, 13,206 households have been provided with seed packages containing seeds of 5 different commodities. The cost of each package is $15. If you still need those seeds, do not hesitate to visit one of the distribution sites nearest to you. And Minister of Agriculture, of course, will put out the listings. You can obtain listings of this seed distribution location from nearest agriculture station or through the Ministry of Agriculture and the Fijian government social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, this support will go a long way for farmers, but over the long term, the best way we support our farmers and their families is by buying natural Fijian-grown produce here at home. Dr. Fong reminded us last week of the extent of the crisis of non-communicable diseases affecting our people, and the vital importance of building our resilience by making better choices about what we all eat and by making the time for physical activity and exercise. We'll say again, local natural food is healthy food. You cannot go wrong eating fresh Fijian fruits and vegetables, and there's an element of economics at play in this as well. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused a global supply chain crisis that set the cost of freight sky high. In fact, it is still rising. For example, in many advanced countries, carriers and ports are simply overwhelmed, forcing a crisis of limited supply and rising demand. Any farmer or market vendor in Fiji understands that principle. Before Cyclone Winston, Yangona in Fiji is being sold for around about $50 a kilo. After Winston, which decimated the supply of the crop, the price per kilo went up to about $150 a kilo. That is the principle of supply and demand at work. For food we cannot grow in Fiji and must import, for example, wheat from Australia that is used to make flour, a rise in freight costs rises not only the cost of the wheat itself or the flour, but also other foods that are made from the flour. The input cost, of course, cannot be controlled, but we do control, price control flour both at the wholesale and the retail level. We cannot escape these global realities. So eating local foods is not only better for our health, it is better for farmers and for families in Fiji. And today, while we're here supporting our farmers towards recovery, we're asking everyone to eat well by eating local foods. Ladies and gentlemen, we trust that the vast majority of farmers have the knowledge and expertise to maximize the value of this assistance. Farming a field and growing at home both depend on our wisdom to think over the long term about how the seeds we sow today will reap rewards a season on from now. We're doing the same at the governmental level, planting and tending seeds that grow this sector past the $500 million mark for exports. We have the vision, the land, of course, the soil, and human resources to make it happen. And we have the plan. Let's come out of Cody stronger together and grow our way to a better Fiji. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll now hand over to the Minister of Agriculture and his team, and who will walk us through the finer details of our relief package. The Minister will also now press the button where the funds to all those who are receiving this package we've announced through M-Pesa will receive the funds now. Okay, so the funds have all gone now, except for those on MyCash. It will be done later on today, but not through the system. I'll hand over now to Minister of Agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable AG. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go, as announced by Honorable Acting Prime Minister about 3 weeks ago, that the farmers, full-time farmers who have been affected by TC Cody would be assisted through government. And the Honorable Acting Prime Minister had given a deadline of 4th to transfer the funds. So I want to thank the staff from Ministry of Agriculture who worked very hard, and the staff at the field level to verify. We received 447 applications. But when we did the screening, we noted that some applications applied 4 or 5 times. So when we asked them, they said, "Oh, we made a mistake by pressing it," etc. So they were removed. Some households, for more than one member applied. So that was screened out. Some of the people in the urban area who were doing home gardening, they applied, so they were removed. Some of the people who had nothing to do with farming, they applied, trying that they would want to get this cash, so they were removed. There were farmers who were not at all affected. They were living, their farms were on the higher terrain. So having removed these, we then had this 12,747 farmers who are now will be receiving the payment as the Honorable Acting Prime Minister had pressed the transfer button. So as we speak now, there will be the message of fund would be received in their phones, and so they can then go and get the cash from the Vodafone outlet or those shops where it's accredited by Vodafone to get money through M-Pesa. We want to thank all the farmers for their perseverance, for their patience, and we now urge them to quickly, as soon as they get their cash, they can either utilize that cash to hire machinery, buy fertilizers, buy inputs, any other input, whether it's seed or planting material or nursery material, etc. So we're very excited that we will quickly get these farmers back on track, as the Honorable Acting Prime Minister has said. Our entire agricultural industry is about valued at, total output is valued as about $1.3 billion. After feeding the nation, as the Honorable Acting Prime Minister has said, the 2020 figure is, after feeding the nation, we exported $106 million worth of fresh and chilled produce. As Honorable Acting Prime Minister has alluded to, over the next decade, we want to raise this export figure to $500 million, so $500 million. After feeding the entire nation, after providing supplies to hotels and restaurants and households, we're not saying leftover. So we are now having a dual sector, the sector that will feed the nation and the sector targeting the produce for the export market. So we are actively now supporting a dual sector within the agricultural industry. So that's the target we have. So agriculture now will also become a export sector for the Fijian economy. Thank you.